Alright, so I realized, I looked at this guy. He's going to eventually get, I think he's going to get some one-handed melee going. Nothing too intense or anything, but it would just be nice to have that. Doesn't really have to do it, but it's fun to do. Also, I think I may have missed one, not that it really matters too much. Gotta remember what the hell this guy has here. Wow. Not easy to hit him. Yeah, right over here. Where it is. I have a ring of flight. Oops. It's all worth it for the plain trident. Okay. I think I looked at these, and there was if there's a trident of pain, but there's a morning star that I might just go pick up. Oh, it's a shame. Well, so what's chain lightning? What is MR? MR's with this. Okay, MR3, it's pretty good. Eventually we will probably swap out magical power for that nice Arlec RF ring. That one's pretty sick. What do we have for RC? We don't have any RC. Maybe we'll look out and find a shield later, but it's kind of hard to hope on that. Orb of Destruction. Did I not notice that I picked this one up? That's very good. That is good, and Chain Lightning is so far away. I'm actually gonna go. I should probably go get this Amnesia. Just go plop this down just outside. Still gotta keep an eye on food. It's not too bad right now, but anytime I start getting less than 10 rations, I get concerned. And most of our spells are pretty good. Lightning Bolt is even nearly hungerless. I'm not going to be using too much more Lightning Bolt, but it is like, well, level 6 is still at 4 bars of hunger, so I'm not going to be spamming that one too much, because it's a spell that you can't do that with. And what were we going to get rid of? Guess for now I will get rid of it and get Orb of Destruction, which I can actually... Wow, really? Huh, I need to take a look at that. It's the second time that my spell mappings haven't really put the spells on a good map. Or on a good key. So yeah, this is a really late night stream for me. I don't usually stream this late, but these past couple weeks, this is the only time I've had free. So it's probably going to be pretty lighter than usual viewership, and I've got to just kind of churn out this character and get him ascended. No, I'm not in Europe. I don't have a time zone. I inhabit all time zones. I am UTC plus and minus infinity. That's my time zone. So what have we done? We didn't do spider yet. I don't have any compelling need to go finish that right now. Can do that later. Looks like we're gonna go to vaults. Thing about vaults right now is all my resists are very swappable, which is probably okay. I do have a lot of HP. I don't think I'm getting too much out of armor. I sort of roughly wanted to get it to 10. Maybe I'll just turn off fighting for now, so it can just... What would that be? 66? Yeah. We're also looking to get Sif up to 6 stars once, just so I can make sure to get the tournament points. Not something I would normally care about, but for the tournament. Looks like, though, we are ready to go to V. Nice. Oh, aren't you clever? But I had the fan of Gales, my friend. Most imba. This guy needs to stop dodging my bolts. Don't like it when fools be dodging my bolts. Yeah, see, it takes a little bit of experience. Mages are kind of more attention. They require more attention. They're really strong in that you can just kill swaths of monsters easily and at range, but there's sort of more things to think about. There's a lot of targeting, so it's usually slower in real time. It's much harder to play faster successfully as a... This is quite a nice little Vault 1. Two Ogre Mage packs. Yaktar pack, Deep Elf pack, possibly just some kind of vault. Yeah. More Ogre Mages, interesting. Oh, you also have to rest a lot. I should mention that as well. OD time, folks. I wonder how much hunger this has. A lot. It's the... So I'm using more Bolt of Drain now, just because it's a lot quieter than Lightning Bolt, and it gives me pretty good flexibility. Spell power is not going to be too great, but I do have a Conj Staff Enhancer, so it's actually not... I would have a bit more spell power with Lightning Bolt, because I would have Staff of Air. Kurz, are you trying to give me gameplay advice? Is that what's happening here? Because that's pretty interesting, if that's what's happening. I prefer not to cast spells that take a whole ton of my HP when I can just rest safely. When I said you have to rest more, I wasn't saying like that's some kind of like tactical weakness or anything. Well, I think that in a practical sense, melee feels OP because you can get away with a lot more suboptimal play than you can with a mage, but for actually winning, spells are really strong. It's just most people don't want to slow down their gameplay quite so much. In practice, people don't really prefer to do that. And it makes melee seem really OP because, oh look, I can do these certain kinds of suboptimal things, and everything is really fast, both turn count wise and real time. It's really, especially the real time thing. But if you're willing to be careful, spells are just incredibly strong. It's kind of where the design challenges come from, because spells are really, really strong. They're just not really, really fun to use to their maximum. Well, oh, nice. Shafted, guys. And it was a safe shaft, so it's just more dramatic effect than anything. Although we have to get, this is interesting. You know what this level looks kind of like? Wow. This level really looks like old Vaults 5 before the corners were changed. Almost exactly. It's kind of interesting. You know, and it's got no corners into the side. No, I mean, I'm just talking about like winning the game. Like talking about that in terms of like power is oh, it's glass, that's why. Huh. Ooh. Hmm. With less mental effort. But a lot of discussions get started off assuming that winning with the least amount of effort is the way that you think about like what kind of actions the player can perform. Like you have to think about what they would do as well if they're going to try to maximize their chance of survival. That is a relevant thing that you have to think about. If you only think about that and you focus on that and that kind of play is really unfun, then you get a problem. And that's kind of the issue with mages, is that they are really fun to learn, and they're sort of a nice mental challenge to go through that kind of learning curve. But you do have to do a number of things that you don't have to do in Melee quite as much, and that kind of the extra mental tax is not necessarily very fun in many cases. If you just design the game around, well, what are players, if they're this lazy, gonna do, then you're also gonna get a really, really badly designed game. Just assume that players are so lazy and just design your game around that. Then the players who try harder to play better are gonna not be rewarded. Welp. I guess I kind of want to stand my ground here a little bit. Just got to be careful. There's some friends. Might go ahead and channel here. Nice. You can on average, but there are also kinds of errors that you can make in Melee that are much more common to be fatal in Melee. So it's not even universal. I think the issue is really just about it boils down to one of fun, not of actual power level. If you want to talk power level, look at what character recently got the best turn count run. I mean, that's like as pure glass cannon of a mage as you can get, taken to the ultimate extreme. And ZXC likes to go around and talk about how Firestorm is like the best spell in the game because, you know, he thinks it insulates you from any form of damage, you know, coming from a streak perspective or something. Well, yes, it was. It got the best score. And it was off by one. I mean, you don't have a point to make. It was one turn slower. It was a high score run, and he got the best score. So that approach of using magic does have a very good power level. And I don't think the issue is actually power level. It's just the amount of constant attention that you have to pay to certain kinds of things. And you have to do that with Melee a ton. There are some things you have to do with Melee that you don't have to do with casting, but overall there are more of them with mages, and some of that attention you have to pay is not super fun. Wish I had Iron Shot. Oh, I can just airstrike. What am I talking about? Airstrike is really good against these guys. Well, we're back. We're back on Vault 1, guys. Quantum attacks. Well, you can't even turn off your brain because you still have to rest a bunch. And I think Logic Ninja is pretty decisive proof that you actually have to have your brain turned on. Because he gets Firestorm and he will still die. Yeah, I actually don't really have the rules for OD memorized, to be honest. I think Minmay has more of a... God, I really need to get... What are we doing with armor? This is exactly why I want to have some melee. You know, just for relatively weak stuff like this. It's really annoying to not really have anything effective in that regard. And now with armor, I think we're going to finally turn on maces. Oh, D's down to 16%. It's going to be a while before we get enough. I really want to work on air again. This is fairly suboptimal, but I really would like to get Tornado going. Just going to need... I'm possibly going to need a Staff of Energy at some point. Our int is 25, which isn't awful, but we're not at endgame. Like, 30 is kind of like what we're really going for. And we'll have only at XL21 will we get another intrinsic point, so that's kind of the challenge with these guys. They really do make a better kind of hybridizing mage than they do a straight mage, because they don't quite have the int. Even though they have better starting int than human, they're going to be... Jeez. Hate Rakshasas, man. They're going to be kind of like... they probably end up pretty similar to human, I guess, because humans have sit over 3, but they're only going to get... Let's see, they get 9. They get an extra 3 points, so it's really a wash between these guys and humans, so they're really going to end up the same way. And then you're going to have slightly decreased spell power due to the aptitude difference. You are going to have much better MP. So they're going to feel very human-y, just with a lot more HP. Ooh. Wait. Don't want to take melee from that guy. Orcs. Do I have any UO? -2. There we go. Oh. Well, he ruined my fun, didn't he? It's alright. He was the one that I wanted to save all my bolt of drain for. Oops. Belf Archer. But yeah, as far as learning a caster goes, don't get too fancy. There's a number of tricks you can do to make your life a little bit easier, but you don't really need too much. You need to remember to rest, to just try to always have lots of MP. And also you can sort of make your first one a more hybrid-y. Spellcaster. Oopsie. Doesn't have to be a deep elf. It could be something like Hofi. Hill Orc, or a Gargoyle Conjurer, Gargoyle Earth Elementalist, where you actually end up doing mostly melee, and maybe get in some spells. Start off relying a little bit more on your spells, then kind of turn into melee. Hofi often ends up just kind of turning totally into melee, but EE has some fun spells that you can do, that you can mess around with. And you can certainly do the same thing with Hofi, using Fireball through a lot of the game, Bolt of Fire, possibly just going up to Orb of Destruction and actually having some defenses. A lot of people want to win more like a pure mage. This one it's wearing a PDA, which makes it more of a hybrid style really, but that's just because it's really good armor with pretty low encumbrance. Basically the encumbrance of Fire Dragon armor, but with even better AC. If you were really winning a typical like pure mage, you would be in a robe and you would be looking for Archmagi. Speaking of that, yeah, I kind of want to stick with my AC.